Okay, hi everyone. I'm Imogen. So today we'll take a little look at posture. So when we're sitting in our chairs, often what tends to happen if we're working at, say, a laptop or a computer, is the head kind of comes forward, and the shoulders maybe come up. So the kind of neutral alignment, we could call it, if I was standing, would be my ear is right over the shoulder, and then the kind of shoulder is over the middle part of the hip. If there was a plumb line, it would go ear, shoulder, hip. So to correct that and sort of strengthen or wake up the deep neck flexor muscles, if you take your hands interlaced and just hold the round part of your skull right at the back, and then begin to press your head straight back. So you're not looking up particularly or down, you're looking straight ahead, and the back of the skull is just pressing back into the hands, and you give a little resistance with your hands into the head. Then you can think of lifting your elbows. So it's almost like your shoulder blades start lifting up as you reach back. So you're not arching back and crunching the spine, but there's a bit of lift happening at the same time as you push the head back. Very good, and release. And that's something that's quite good to do every now and then during the day, just to get that head back. And then we'll move through the spine kind of segmentally, and I'll talk about what each part wants to be doing. So your upper back wants to be kind of round. So everyone's spine's a different shape. Mine isn't a good example because it's quite straight, but your upper back tends to kind of be, it's called kyphosis. So to get the feeling of that rounding, let's just put your fingers kind of around the back of the ribs. So if you reach back behind you and hold those back ribs, dig your fingers in and think of lifting them up. And you'll be making that movement happen with your hands, but try and simulate that same feeling from the inside. So you're lifting the back of the body up. Then we'll do that in a different way. Interlace your hands, push your palms forward, and then reach your arms up overhead. Reach all the way up so your shoulders come up by your ears like a child hanging from a tree. And probably what's happened is your ribs, your back ribs have collapsed in, and you're kind of arching your back. So to kind of correct that, think of pushing your front ribs down and the back ribs lift up. So it's like what we were just doing with your fingers. And it might start feeling a bit tiring, so you're lifting all the lungs out of the digestive system and the organs beneath. So really reaching up with your hands, letting your upper back be lifted. Very nice, and then release. And just with your arms down by your sides, push the hands down so the shoulders move away from the ears. Just a little release from the last position. And you can do all of these. I'm kind of kneeling on the floor at the moment, but there's no reason you can be sitting on a chair or cross-legged. The next upper back movement we're going to explore is taking the elbows out in front, part one. And then you're going to hook. Let's do the right elbow over the left. Now, if there's some tightness in the shoulder, it might not really hook directly on top of the left elbow. No problem. You just keep kind of snuggling it in. And then for some people, you might be able to bring your forearms together. And then some people might be able to clasp their hands. If the hands don't clasp, just spread the fingers and think of drawing the forearms together. Now, in whatever position you're in with your arms, keep that. And then send the elbows forwards and away from you. And then lift them up. You might feel a bit of a stretch in between your shoulder blades at the back of your body. Then we're going to pull the elbows towards the belly button. And you can move your belly button a bit forward towards the elbows as well. So I don't know if you can see in the screen there, my back's really rounded in the upper segment. So just close your eyes for a moment and feel that roundedness of the upper back, almost like a tortoise shell. And as you breathe in, it expands the ribs from the inside. And then they relax and close back together as the breath falls out of the body. And then move the belly button forward to come back up. Release your arms. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, you can reach back and hold the backrest with your hands. Or if there's no backrest, you can clasp your hands together behind you and extend them away from your body. And it'll feel like the opposite stretch to what we were just doing. So this time we're opening the front, stretching across the chest. Either the hands are moving away from your body, or you're holding the chair, pressing downwards with the hands, and moving your chest forward, away from the back seat. And then we'll release. And we'll take the left elbow over the top of the right. And it might be different on this side. You might need to kind of snuggle the arms a bit closer together. And then bring the forearms together. And then go to bring the palms together. Maybe they reach, maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. We're just bringing the arms close together. Squeezing them together by top elbow moving down, bottom elbow pressing up. Move the elbows forward to initiate a stretch in the upper back. At the same time, kind of bringing the chest back away from the elbows. Then we're going to round the spine. So try to plug your elbows into your belly button. Your belly button, if you're sitting on a chair, the belly button can move forward towards the elbows. And if you're sitting on a chair, you might need, your sitting bones might shuffle a bit forward. That's all right. Tuck your chin in and take a breath. And then move the belly forward to come up. Release the arms, and this time just stretch the arms back. The other thing about working in jobs where we're on computers a lot is that the arms are always in front of us. We're rarely having the arms back. So just for a bit of variety, you can do this on your chair. Just take your arms back. Maybe wiggle the fingers and see how close together you can get your arms behind you. Very nice. Now let's look at the lower spine. So the neck is not too far forward. It's a concave part. The upper back is convex, round, and the lower back is also concave. It's mirroring the neck in a way. So let's just play with that by bringing the sitting bone to sit on the back of the sitting bones and the front of the sitting bones. Just to explore that. So that's something you can be conscious of when you're sitting. Are you kind of pushing forward? Women tend to be kind of enthusiastic sitters and sit like this with the chest up, pushing in quite a lot here. Men tend to kind of slouch back a bit more, and then when they're told to sit up, they crunch in at a different spot. So just feeling where you are. And when you think of sitting up tall, we want to actually make sure we're not crunching into this soft part of the back. So if you feel your waistband, it's quite a good marker. You would like the front of your waistband to be higher than the back of your waistband. So you do that just by taking the weight a little to the back of the sitting bone. So the front waistband is high. And then we go ahead and lift the upper back. And relax the shoulders. Keep lifting the upper back. And bring the head back with a tall neck. So that's a kind of template for how you could be sitting posturally in a chair or on the floor, cross-legged or kneeling. But ultimately, we don't want to create a mold. There's no real bad position, but staying in the same position too often is is what the body doesn't like very much. So now we're going to go through some stretches and movements standing. So you can just stand to the side of your chair. You don't need a lot of room here. What I'd advise is maybe every 20 minutes set an alarm, so then you just stand up after 20 minutes and maybe move a little bit, because we are moving less than we would usually if we were leaving the house. So first thing we're going to do is just roll down. So I'll show you from the side, but you can stay where you are. Drop your chin down towards your throat, and then with a softness in the knee, just let the spine unfurl. So there's a sense that you're peeling each vertebra apart, one at a time. Almost trying to put your nose into your tummy button, into your belly button. Then you might get a bit stuck, and then you can start to hinge at the hips. So then you, by bending the knees, let the body keep coming forward and down. And then when you reach a kind of comfortable place, just take a little rock side to side to encourage the body really to let go. So you're hanging, essentially, hanging the upper body from the hips. And then bend the knees a little bit more and start to roll up, pushing through the heels. And the head is going to come up last, just like it did when we went down. And then stand. You got some fresh blood to the brain there. So now we're going to do kind of the opposite movement. So just start rocking your weight forwards and backwards. So when the hips come forward, your heels will lift. When the hips go to the back, your toes will lift. And this in itself is quite a nice, just kind of grounding thing to do, feeling the weight transition across the sole of the feet. And then the next time that the hips move forward, let the heels come off the ground. So your pelvis shifts forward, the heels lift, and pause there. I can't remember if I said the feet are a little wider than hip width apart. So once that's your footing, hips forward. And now think of lifting your chest up. So hips stay coming forward, chest keeps lifting up, and then you can take the arms a little bit back behind you. Keep the chin down towards the throat. And then you can keep moving hips forward, lifting chest up, and you might notice you're bending backwards, but keeping the back of the spine quite long, the front of the body even longer. Then place the heels down. Soften your knees, and as we did on the chair, bring the front of the waistband higher than the back of the waistband. So it's this action. Then I'm just turning to the side so you can see me. To have your hands in front of your shoulders, feet hip width apart. You're going to shift your hips over to the right side. Point your right elbow up at the ceiling and your left elbow down at the floor. Keep the hips traveling over to the right side, so you could be standing on your left toe tip. Then push your right hand forward and up, so it's just in front of your face. Push your hips slightly forward by squeezing your buttocks. And then extend the left shoulder away from your ear. So we've made quite a deep side stretch there. Then bring your hips back to the middle, hands in front of your shoulders, soft knees, front of the waistband higher than the back of the waistband. Pointing the left elbow at the ceiling and the right elbow at the floor. Shift your hips over to the left side. Press your right shoulder down and your left arm forward as well as up, so it's in front of your face. You can see your hand right in front of your face. It's reaching forward. Yeah, nice. Then shift your hips back to the middle. Release your arms. And then we'll just go for some circles in the hips. So one of the things with sitting is that the spine can get a little bit compressed. So just moving with as much, kind of focus on as much of the spine as you can. So the hips are moving, and you're also thinking about moving the ribs in space, even letting the head turn. And they can go side to side. It's kind of like dancing. And then we'll take a seat for a twist. So you can take a seat on a chair or on the floor. Now, with this twist, we're going to move from the core first. So the core is between the belly button and pubic bone. And let's twist to the right first. So find in your mind your lower belly. And then turn your belly button to the right side. Then let your shoulders continue the movement. Then let your head turn. Then release your right hand onto your left knee. Your left hand onto your right knee. And then take the other hand behind you, either onto the top of the backrest, or the seat of the chair or the floor. Now the hands can help you twist, but think of the spiraling coming from the inner body. So you could actually let go and you'd be in the same position. We'll go out the way we went in, turning the belly to the front and then letting the rest of the body follow. Then we'll turn the other way, same process, belly turns to the left, the chest, the shoulders follow, the head follows. And then we place the arms, right hand, left knee, left hand to the backrest, the seat or the floor. And then while we're here, let your breath be expansive. So let it almost move into your lower belly. And then just let it out on its own. So no forcing. And you might find that the breathing is naturally affecting the twist. And then to come out, turn the belly to the front. Let the rest of the body follow. And then, I'll just say something a little about, being at home. You have a little more freedom to sit in a vaster variety of ways. So if you have no knee problems that would stop you from doing this, I'd advise sitting maybe on the floor sometimes, and you can sit on a phone book or a cushion into a kind of squatting position. Maybe have your laptop on a chair if you don't have a low table. And I have a document that's detailing different ways of sitting on the floor. It's actually an anthropologist's document detailing different resting positions across different cultures who don't use chairs. Just for some ideas of how you can sit, because ultimately the body quite likes variety, and you build all kinds of different strengths when you're getting on and off the floor, especially without your hands, and including getting more flexible in your hips, and the way that you move your spine is different if you're sitting cross-legged on the floor versus in a chair. And if you are sitting on a chair a lot, you can also sometimes just sit in different ways. You can have a leg across you resting on your knee. You can put one leg up into a squat. Just, keeping the body moving and getting a variety of things. So I hope that was helpful in some ways. And thank you so much for joining.